Hey, so I'm going to take a little left turn on all my videos here and do kind of a video on how to be frugal and still enjoy life. I've been watching channels like Azul for a while now, and also recently gotten into like Frugal Fit Mom, Vicky Smith, Prepper Princess, and just kind of other frugal videos that pop up. I'll watch them. Some I take more from than others. The ones I mentioned, I've watched quite a few of Azul's, and I started watching his because being 50 now, we're really starting to think about, holy cow, retirement's not that far away, and see what we can do to get ourselves set. But the whole, my backstory is wasn't any rich spoiled kid or anything, but the way I lived my life when I was younger is if I had money, if I saw something I needed, whether it was for racing RC cars, backpack. Yes, I did EDC back then. I just didn't know it was EDC 30, 40 years ago. If I saw fishing lures, if I had the money, I bought it. Even with credit cards, I never ran up any debt, thankfully. So I never ended up in debt, but when we first got married, didn't have a lot of money saved. And it took a good while for my wife to teach me how to be frugal and still enjoy life. Not having to have everything, can still go out and catch a ton of fish and not have the best of everything. But yeah, it was quite a learning process. Especially we started our family when we were 23 and 20 was when we got married. So we have basically learned how to be frugal, but yet still travel, still do everything we want to do. So some ways that we've done it, especially early on, to travel. Whenever we traveled, we would go to, say, the Badlands. We do state parks. We go up north, rent a small cottage. But to save, instead of going out to eat all the time, we pack food from home. And there were times we ate every meal as a picnic meal, either at a state park or at a hotel, and we wouldn't eat out at all. Now this summer kind of broke that rule. For our 27th anniversary, we stopped at 2 Wisconsin supper clubs on our anniversary trip, but all the rest of our meals were kind of stuff we brought along. So we bring drinks along so we can just kind of cut corners that way and be frugal. Not cheap, frugal. Other ways we do it, we try to limit how much we go out to eat. And I would say 97% of our meals are home cooked. We very rarely go out to eat. If we do, a lot of times I'm gluten free. We do Culver's quite often because I can get a full meal there. I can get, instead of the fries, I can get mashed potatoes. So we'll do something like Culver's once in a while. We can always get coupons. But we will we do have a couple restaurants, or at least we used to before they closed, that we would go to 3 or 4 times a year. So there are ways to still go out to get that experience, still save some funds. And what that's done over the years for us by cutting back on meals out, clothes shopping. Instead of buying all the cool fashions, I'll admit, when I was a kid, I had to have the coolest Levi's because all they're Levi's and they're comfortable. Now, a lot of times, even before we started at Costco, I would shop the clearance racks at Kohl's. The joke with Kohl's department stores are, if it's not on sale this week, go back next week. I'd pay under $4 or $5 for polo shirts. Get dress pants for under $10. Now with Costco, we watch for the Death Star deals, and there are days, including shoes, shoes, pants, shirt, my outfit's under $30 just by getting good quality brands. I happen to be wearing a $6 pair of Orvis kind of dressier looking shorts that you can get away with from work. Was just patient, waited for the end of the summer, and was able to replace some of my shorts. And that's another thing, clothes. We wear our clothes for a long time and then try not to buy too many new until we actually need them. That might mean we're not in the latest style, but honestly, at 50, I'm not a business exec. I've got a decent job, but I'm not an exec, so I dress how I need to for work, and I can get those clothes cheap. And I'm sure if I needed to get dressier clothes, I've definitely seen those on deal. So and the big one now, food. So we probably do 80+% of our food shopping at Costco. But one of the things we've always been is we're not really store brands, kind of stop here along the creek. We're not really store brand, or we're not really name brand people. We'll buy store brand. We'll look for those deals. The name brand is on sale, we'll get it. But one thing we don't do is we don't really have a set menu every week. My parents are a little different. They're name brand people, but they kind of live off a set menu. So we're kind of flexible. We'll kind of maybe a little bit on the prepper side, but not fully prepper. We'll buy bulk. We'll buy a bunch of food, stick it in the freezer. We've got an extra fridge in the house, so we are able to stock up on sales. And then for our meals, we will basically shop our fridge, freezer, or pantry every night to try and figure out what we want to eat. And it works really good. A lot of times we'll be, especially maybe in gluten-free, we maybe have to be a little more careful on what we shop for, but with all the deals we get, it comes out to be really easy to put a meal together. And it's varied. We're not stuck in a rut of eating. It's not like Tuesday night's pizza night. It's not like Big Bang Theory where they got a night for there's a food for every night. So we do that, and that can save us a lot of money, especially now. Of course, we just paid $5.69 instead of $4.99 for 2 dozen eggs, but we don't go through a ton of eggs, so that's all right. It's not ideal, but there's a couple things. Butter's a little high right now, but we work around it. Right now, meat is ridiculous, so we just have kind of cut back. We had a sale. A provisions company had a tremendous sale this summer, and we bought multiple 4 or 5 pound packs of ground beef. So we are basically set on ground beef and for the summer and actually going through the winter. So that was actually really nice. Got some steaks super cheap. So there are deals to be out there. You just have to be patient for them. And even for hobbies. Yeah, I fish a lot. Fishing is one thing you can't, and a lot of things you got to buy the name brand because they just work better, crankbaits, blah, blah, blah. If you fish, cheap baits generally don't work very well. So what I do is, the online stores probably hate me, but I shop all the sales. And I get them for 15-20% off. If I'm at a store, I go straight to the clearance rack and able to get stuff 50-60% off. And I also have found places that used to be cheap aren't cheap anymore, and certain tackle box I like for a certain thing, it's a premium box, but certain online retailer I used to go to found it at a Fleet Farm store locally for over $20 less. So if you are patient, bide your time, watch sales, comparison shop, you can get great deals. It goes for clothes, it goes for fishing stuff, food, you name it. About the only time we go to, say, a grocery store anymore. I still do buy soda from time to time, but not much, only when it's on a decent deal. There is no such thing as a decent deal for soda anymore. I don't know what happened there, but we'll watch for that. For meats, I do almond milk. Costco does not. Their almond milk prices are ridiculous. So stuff like that, we'll watch our local grocery store ads. And generally the only reason we go in there is to get groceries. So really for us, there's no one huge key. It's just look for deals. Buy on sale, a little bit in bulk. You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to fill your pantry up with all one item. And be flexible. Whether it's buying an off-brand, whether it's skipping mac and cheese for a couple months because you can't find it on sale. We shop Benton Dent stores. We just find all these bargain stores to get good deals. Once in a great while I'll splurge, and so will my wife, and we'll do some stuff to the house. But another good example of traveling. I'm not saying cruising is for everybody, but one thing we've done with cruising, this last year we've been able to do a Galapagos bucket list trip. We were also able to tie in a 10-night Caribbean cruise to a business trip we had this year. And we've sailed everything from like the bottom level of the suites on Disney before Disney got super expensive, but still it wasn't that cheap. And we weren't doing as well as we are now then, but we could still afford it now. But what we found is the experience, for us at least, wasn't really worth it. There's a little bit more pampering, a little bit more perks, but overall the experience really wasn't all that much different for us. So for us, we got a Hawaii cruise coming up in a couple years, and I think we paid $184 a night. That's for an inside stateroom, because we figure we're not in the staterooms very much, so we don't need a veranda or even an ocean view. You get all your main dining room meals, no beverage package. We still got to pay gratuities, but it doesn't get much better deal. You got food and lodging. All you got to pay is gratuities and shore excursion. Of course, Hawaii, that shore excursion are expensive. but it's the second cruise we've done there, so we're double dipping on our bucket list. But just doing something like an inside room, not spending a lot on beverages, you know, the beverage package really adds up, and we can afford to do the cruises because they're cheap. It's a great way to see a lot of different places. If you want to see a lot of different places, you know, one of the bigger expenses, and sometimes you can get around it, sometimes not so much, is flights and hotel, and obviously the tourist trap areas where the ports are. But still, the overall out-of-pocket cost for a cruise for us is very economical. So there's ways, and that's kind of our splurge, but yet not a splurge. So, yeah, this is a little all over the place, but yeah, I think it's important for everybody to realize you don't have to have everything. You don't have to go everywhere. And all you really need to do is be comfortable. And we kind of stack experiences. And we've gotten to experience a lot. I'm hoping my wife will want to travel overseas. Going to Ecuador was a big first step. So I'm hoping I can get her over the pond and get her over to England and kind of where some of our family roots are, like Germany, Slovenia, Sweden, just to kind of see more of the world. And there were some birds. But yeah, but by being, you know, frugal but living life, we can do stuff like that. And I guess over the years I've learned that you can have fun doing that. I did just splurge. Hopefully the order went through on some alpaca gear. So my EDC crowd might recognize that. It's kind of a premium brand, but Labor Day they had some amazing sales on some packs that I have my eyes on, not just to do videos, but because I can use them, utilize them. One is for on the planes, so I had a use for it. So yeah, it's all about figuring out what you need, what's going to make you happy. And if your balance sheet doesn't have enough money coming in, maybe adjust a little bit on the stuff you have and find a way to still get the experiences, because that's what's important. The experiences are what are important. That's what we kind of, if we're going to take anything with us, the experiences are going to be embedded with us, not the stuff. And yeah, the only rule I break on a lot of these frugal people is buying new cars. We've got Subarus and Toyotas, nothing flashy, but in the past I've also been burned on a new car. That's why I don't buy certain brands. But you know, I've had really good luck with my trade-in value on Toyotas to the point where it's ridiculous. I would have been not smart to buy used, because basically I think one of my trucks I had for 2006 to 2013, I traded it in for $4,000 to $5,000 less than I paid for it. So you do the math, that's insane. I mean, I almost feel like I got a free truck. So we tend to buy vehicles, we watch what's going to have good trade-in value. But since we got burned pretty badly on a couple of used cars, we stay away from them, because you buy a newer used car, you really don't know what you're getting. Did somebody turn it in because they leased it, because they want a new car every year? Great. Or did somebody trade it in? Like, we got rid of a couple cars that we weren't happy with, that were newer cars. We got rid of them early, got decent trade value, but we're betting 4 or 5 years down the road they were going to have major problems. Are you buying a car like that? So that one's a toss-up for me, and honestly, I see the value in buying a new vehicle. I know they depreciate as soon as you take them off the lot, but I bought reasonably priced newer vehicles, not top of the line, Lamborghinis, I wish. But so yeah, hopefully this is a good change of pace, and if you guys got questions or want me to do more content like this, got tons of ideas. It can be a little more focused, but yeah, I really think the goal in life should be to stack experiences, put away some money, invest, and try to get a little nest egg going so that when you retire, you can still stack those experiences. And in the end, as much as I like flashy new stuff, just like anybody else, I've learned to wait for it to go on sale. If I miss it, I miss it. But what's most important is those experiences. Hope you all enjoyed. Take care.